Hey, yo, Pincer 2.0. You guys are going to get it. You wanted the guide. You've been asking for it since Pincer was released. We got teases on what the special inscriptions were. But now that it's in the game, and as you can see, I've already converted a whole set, and I'm going to go through it with you. We're going to go through one by one. I'm going to give you the guide on what to do because nobody needs to panic. Pincer 2.0, yes, in just about every scenario, it's better in just about all the different slots, rares, and specials. However, you don't have to break your back on this thing, guys. I'll explain more because there's going to be a lot more mixing and matching and what you want to do, and you're not going to lose too much because Pincer 1 was already busted, so stick around while we go through it all right now. Hey everybody, I'm your boy War Daddy Chadsky. I do videos for Rise of Kingdoms all the freaking time, and if you enjoy these videos, throw a thumbs up on here, give it a like, helps out the channel, helps out the videos a ton, and if you're not subscribed, consider doing so. And we're in the middle of our July and August $10 Flux giveaway for every single video that I do. I pick a random comment and I highlight it and I give away a $10 Flux, and here we go. Fantastic! This is on the previous video that I did when I talked about, hey, weird, these cavalry commander skills, why are these in the game? Okay. Giga Chadsky says, do a Pincer 2 content and mix and match of legendary and blues. Hey, fantastic. I'm glad you asked, bro, because that's what this video is all about. Congratulations on the $10 Flux. And if you want to enter to win for the announcement next video, all you got to do is put a comment down in the comment section. Love getting involved down there. Okay, listen, boys, everybody chill out. This is Pincer 2, okay? I went ahead and got everything going on this thing. You guys know me. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I've got my Kingsland fight coming up. We're going to have fun with this, see what it does with Sun Tzu. And I also kept Pincer 1 over here on my BQ. Now, there's a reason why I did this, and I'll get into it in a few. But there are some clear discrepancies when it comes to some of these things. So let's go through all of this and go through all the different slots and the difference. Not just with the legendaries, but most of you watching are like, Chadsky, I got a bunch of rares. Like, should I convert these rares? So let's go into the scroll slot, right? This is the KVK Autarch shop slot. Most everybody running 2 infantry. If you've been playing for a while, you've got 2 topplers, right? You've got this inscription on both your infantry marches. All right. Now, the difference is Toppler, okay, gives a 5% boost to smite damage, which is great. All right. But it also does a weird mechanic. Whenever the troop deals smite damage, the target takes 20% increased smite damage for the next 3 seconds. That is a debuff on the target. Okay, and it can trigger multiple times in a second, up to 5 times. So if you're doing AoE damage, you're going to go put a debuff for 3 seconds where each target that gets hit takes 20% more smite damage. All right, so that's a debuff. Okay, when you come over here to Pincer 2, you have Dominate. Now, this does give you 2% more boost to smite damage dealt, which is good. Okay, so clearly it appears to be stronger, but let's read. When dealing smite damage, if the hit troop has 50% more units, more than 50% units remaining, that's 50% on his HP bar, the yielder's troop deals 20% more smite damage to it for 3 seconds. That means your primary commander hits, and then for 3 seconds, you're going to deal 20% more smite damage from your march. That's not a debuff. That's from your march. If not, okay, if it has less than 50% troops, you're going to gain 30% bonus to the instance of smite damage dealt, to that instance, right? So, for example, if Sun Tzu and BQ, if that's what you're running, and they hit a target and it has full health, all right? Well, Sun Tzu's going to put a buff on your own march to where for 3 seconds, you're going to get 20% more smite damage, and then BQ just hammers the AoE, which is good. If you hit a march with less than 50% troops, then when Sun Tzu fires off, that damage that Sun Tzu fires off on will give a 30% bonus. So it's like 6 one way, half a dozen another, okay? And it can trigger up to 5 times per second. When they have less than 50% and you do that 30% bonus to that instance, so if that fires off when BQ fires off, you're going to deal 30% more smite damage up to 5 targets, okay, with a cooldown of 3 seconds, which is like really, really good. Really good. And so here's the difference, though. And this is what people have to understand. You have a debuff over here, okay? You have a buff over here. All right, those are the two differences. So my recommendation for this, and this is Davor's, and speaking of which, we got to go through this because Davor put his entire situation together with a practical guide on mix and matching smartly with Pincer. He goes through all of this, and this is basically a summary of all this, and then I kind of throw in my little expertise on it, if you will, but he goes through all this. I'll have a link in the link in the bottom. You guys can go read all of this when it comes to Davor. Of course, he and I cooked on this. We've been talking a lot. We got some fun stuff to show you. Okay, so go check this thing out. But when you have this, all right, the recommendation he had, and the recommendation I fully agree with, is that if you are running 2 infantry, have one of them run Toppler and keep the debuff, and then have your big damage one run Dominate. Okay, that's the recommendation, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to run Toppler over here and Dominate on my Sun Tzu. You can see it right here. Okay, that's the recommendation. If you just have one special inscription for the scroll slot and infantry, then you can either stay with Toppler, which is great. It's still phenomenal. Or you can upgrade that to Dominate, because if you're just doing one march, or you just have the chance to have one special inscription, this is the one you want to go with, okay? So that's the first one we wanted to look at in the codex here to try to figure this thing out, was a special inscription. Now I'll come back to the rares, but let's go ahead and go to the instrument, okay? The instrument, we have Demolisher. Demolisher is phenomenal, guys. I've loved this. This is Pincer 1, OG Pincer. It's the instrument slot. It's like the hardest slot to get. You have to do it on your pity. You have to get lucky, and not a lot of people have it, but have no fear. If you've got a rare here, we'll talk about that later. But for this, whenever you deal smite damage, you got a 75% chance to ignore 50% of the target's defense, and it can trigger up to 5 times for 5 target AoE before entering its cooldown. If it only triggers once, then the yielder troop gains 100 extra rage. So if you only just hit one target, you get 100 extra rage, okay? Now the cooldown on this is 10 seconds. That is never great. I don't like that. Now, if you come over here to Clever, or Cleaver, I should say, Clever, you do get a little bit of a bonus. You give an upgrade from the 5% on Demolisher to the 7% on Cleaver, okay? And then when dealing smite damage, if the total damage factor for smite damage dealt in that turn is over 2,000, for every 200 damage factor exceeded, the yielder's troop ignores 5% of the troop's health when dealing smite damage for 5 seconds. At the same time, gain 2% rage, gain speed. This effect can stack up to 5 times, and it resets every time you put on another stack. Okay, so you have this buff, if you will, for 5 seconds. So if you just keep firing off, which you will with like a Sun Tzu march, okay, you're going to run this stack up to where you're going to have 10% rage gain, and you run it up very, very fast, okay? And in a rally garrison situation, you're going to run this up very, very fast. In the field, same thing, but you could go back and forth and you lose out on it. But you could run this up to where you have 25%, ignoring 25% of the target troop's health, okay, when it stacks up to 5 times. That's like really, really good. Okay, as good as Demolisher is, all right, Cleaver is just as good and a little bit better. But is it so much better that you got to break the bank to go upgrade Demolisher? Not really. Honestly, not really. And this is the good news everybody wants to hear. It's a little bit better, but I'm not going to go do this on my second march. Like, and I spend a ton, but I'm not going to go do it on my second. I'm just going to keep Demolisher on my second infantry march, okay? So that's your recommendation there. When it comes to the flag slot, this is the slot in the courier shop, right? We told everybody, hold on, hold your horses. If you're in the courier shop and you've got your shards, look, I got 8 shards. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go ahead and get Bulwark, okay? But if you have this, this is the flag slot. This is what you can get in the courier shop, all right? And if you see here, we've got 2 of them. We got Airtight and we got Bulwark. Now, when it comes to this one, guys, this is different than the first 2, okay? The first 2, little bit of a difference, nothing crazy, but you got a debuff here with Toppler, you got good buffing here with Dominate, you got a really good situation going on here with Demolisher, You got Cleaver, which is maybe a little bit better. Now, when it comes to the flag, holy geez, hold on to your nuts, boys. This thing is much better, okay? First of all, you get a 5% combo attack damage resistance, okay? That's just combo. It's great for rallies and garrisons when you're going up against cavalry, but it doesn't work if you're going up against archers or other infantry, all right? And then whenever you deal smite damage, your troops will take 10% less damage for the next 3 seconds. Okay, so good damage mitigation. However, Bulwark, you're going to gain a 2% damage, all damage resistance, plus a 3% combo attack damage resistance. So it's like just a big upgrade, right? From just 5% combo attack damage resistance. You're going to get 2% all damage, 3% combo. So that's just better. Okay, and then whenever the Yielder's troops, whenever your troops receives basic attack damage, okay, it has a 50% chance to take 10% less damage and deal 20% more smite damage for 3 seconds with a cooldown of 5 seconds, okay? So not only is it doing damage mitigation, just like Airtight was, all right, it's also adding 20% more smite damage for 3 seconds. Love this. This is the upgrade. This is the one that you're looking at and you say, that is clearly better. I'm going with that. And that's the one I would recommend. If you only had 10 stones and you could upgrade, let's say Toppler, you could upgrade Airtight, you could upgrade Thundering, I would go with Bulwark. Do the Airtight to Bulwark. That's the one I would do. That's like the priority for me. That's what I would say the priority is, okay? When you come to the Emblem, you've got Thundering, okay? This is the Emblem slot. It just gives you the boost, which I love. Perpetual boost, 10%. And if you go to Tiebreaker, it just adds a 2.5% boost, okay? But here's the funny part. This isn't that great because if you take something like Toppler and you go ahead and upgrade it to Dominate, you're getting 2% there. So you're like getting the same benefit, plus you're getting the benefit of the other stuff that comes with it, okay? Same thing over here with Demolisher, 5% boost to Cleaver, 7% boost. You're getting 2% there, plus you're getting a better situation when it comes down here. So this is generally pretty good, all right? You don't have to break the bank to go to 2% more. You might just rather spend that on upgrading Airtight to Bulwark, because I've never liked Airtight. I think it's the weakest of all the Pincer special inscriptions, and it's one of the weakest of all the special inscriptions of all formations. All right? Very, very centric, very acute to the rallies and garrisons going against cavalry, okay, because of the combo attack damage resistance. But Bulwark, fantastic, okay? So those are that's like your breakdown when it comes to the specials, right? Now, let's go to the rares, because this is where it gets to be a lot of fun, y'all. This is a lot of fun, all right? First of all, you've got Imploder. I've always liked Imploder a lot, okay? But it's just a straight, it is just a straight debuff of 20% defense for the next 2 seconds to the target, okay? Just a little debuff. And this can trigger multiple times, single second, so you can do this AoE. So it's an AoE debuff, and that's it. That's all it is. Cooldown of 5 seconds. It's pretty good, all right? But now let's look over here to Bludgeon. If you don't have the specials on the scroll slot, you got rares. Now let's read this. When your troop deals smite damage, there is a 60% chance to ignore 30% of the target's defense. This effect can trigger up to 3 times. So now you're going from a situation to where you've got, when you deal smite damage, you automatically get a 20%. Well, now there's a little bit of RNG here to where it gives you a 60% chance to ignore 30%, okay? So with that, guys, it's just about the same. It is literally just about the same, okay? Like in the end, if you hit 3 targets, odds are you're going to hit 2 of them. And you're going to put 30%, okay, defense ignored, all right? Now that's the defense ignored when you hit them. It is not a debuff, okay? So when it comes to the value of this, I think it's about the same, because I love the debuff. You're just going to make the troop lose 20% defense for 2 seconds, okay? That's a debuff that everybody takes advantage of. If you're targeting something and you put Imploder on them, they lose 20% defense for 2 seconds when everybody's hitting them. That's a debuff. Over here, it's a little bit different. All right. You get a 60% chance to ignore the damage you're doing. To ignore the defense that the target has, and it does more damage, right? And so this one I think is pretty like for like, just depending on what you want. Now you do get this for 3 seconds, all right? Or I'm sorry, it can trigger up to 3 times, but so can this, and it puts the debuff on it for 2 seconds while everybody's hitting it. Okay, and so from there, I think these are pretty even, guys. You don't have to go crazy with that. More good news for you. Don't have to spend stones on that, all right? Now let's go to the instrument, all right? I have loved Raider. I love Raider. It's one of the best rares out there. The only problem is it's got a 10-second cooldown, and I hate that. Okay, you get a 2% boost to smite damage. That's good. Whenever the troop deals smite damage, that has a 50% chance to gain rage 20% faster for 3 seconds. All right, there's no cooldown except that would make it amazing, except with the 10-second cooldown, I don't like it near as much. However, boys, I'm just telling you, this might be the best rare in the game. Holy, this is one of the ones Davor was like, Chatsky, this charge thing is off the chart. It's almost like a special inscription. All right, strongest of all the rares. The Yielder's troops gain a 3.5% boost to smite damage dealt. That's better just on the surface than Raider with 2%, right? But then when dealing smite damage, your troop has a 50% chance to gain 30 extra rage. This can trigger up to 5 times per second. Now, the reason why this is important with only a 2-second cooldown is because if you hit AoE, do you get that rage from everything you hit? And Davor went and tested this. He sent it to me. He's like, Chatsky, this is broken. Here's what it shows. Charge inscription, Sun Tzu. On this armament, you triggered this turn 4 times. You got 30 rage. So you just added 120 rage. It is slamming rage in there. And it is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And so if you want to look at this and think to yourself, hey, what's the number one rare I need to upgrade? It is charge. 100%. Set it and forget it. If you've got Raider, and a lot of people do, because this is really hard to get. Demolisher is really hard to get. This is worth it. Spend the 3 transmutation or the conversion stones, the 3 conversion stones, get charge, because this thing is nuts. It is nuts. That's the one you want. Okay? When we go to the flag slot, we've got hard-headed, which is, in my opinion, just kind of awful. 4% attack or combo attack damage resistance. But if you compare that to bolstered, you're going to get a 1% chance or 1% resistance and an additional 3% attack combo attack damage resistance. So it's almost the same, just a little bit better because you do get 1% all damage resistance, but not worth like switching over, guys. If you're just running hard-headed over here, you don't have to worry about this. Okay? You don't have to worry about this. So save some stones. You're going to be fine. All right? Then when you come to rattling, that gives you 4% boost to smite damage dealt. If you want to spend the 3 conversion stones, you get 1 more % boost to smite damage dealt. You can decide to do it if you want. Okay? You can decide to do it if you want. But if you do have any rares, the most important one to transfer over is Raider to charge. Charge is busted. That's the one, guys. That is the one. Okay? So I would say this one is the one to prioritize when it comes to the scroll slot with Imploder and Bludgeon. You're getting about the same effect. One's a debuff, and one is where you ignore the troops' defense. That you do more damage. So that's kind of up to you. I think you're splitting hairs there, you know. But when it comes to the flag slot, hard-headed, and when it comes to bolster, same type of thing. You're kind of splitting hairs there. Don't have to jack with that. When it comes to rattling, if you want 1% more boost, if it's worth 3 conversion stones to you, Vigor will do better. It just will do better. Okay? So those are your rares. When it comes to the specials, Toppler, my recommendation, if you have 2 of these, convert 1 and keep 1 Toppler. Okay? Put this one on the high damage one, put the Toppler on the other one, and put the debuff on there. If you have the instrument, you have Demolisher, and Cleaver is a little bit better. Not like crazy amounts better, but a little bit better. If you could only spend on getting one special inscription upgraded, change airtight and get bulwark, okay? That is the one that's better. Hands down better. Clear discrepancy, okay? And so from there, this is the one everybody needs to be going to get, right? If you're getting courier shop stuff and you're getting your 8 shards, you want to get bulwark. That's the one you want. You want to skip airtight. And that's what people have been saving for, and that's the recommendation, okay? So, really pretty simple. I didn't have to do like a weird tier list or anything. It's basically Pincer, because it was already so cracked and so busted, just to sum all this up, that you're not getting like insane, like, oh my God, this is insane. It's not like a Wedge 2.0 situation. When we got the upgrades to Wedge 2.0, it was off the charts. Like, holy geez. Like, oh my God, this is nuts. Like, even though that one's not all that great, but some of this other stuff was just crazy. It's just crazy. When it came to Pincer, it was already great. So it's just not a clear discrepancy except for a couple of things. So for me, if you're looking at special inscriptions, your bulwark, that's what you want to upgrade. If you're looking at a rare inscription, your Raider to charge is what you want to do. You want to go from Raider to charge. That is, everybody's got to do that. That's like insane. Insanity, I tell you. And then if you have only one of these on the scroll for special inscriptions, it's worth it to move Toppler to dominate. It's going to do better for you. But if you're running 2, keep a Toppler. Just keep a Toppler. And then there's just not that much discrepancy between the others, guys. So everybody take a deep breath. Let's all take a deep breath. Everything's going to be fine. You don't have to break the bank. Pincer 1 is still amazing, okay? And you got some upgrades here and there, so just check those out. And if you got any comments, I want you guys to put them down in the comment section. I'm going to be running this stuff all Kingsland, and it's getting ready to happen like right now. My Kingsland is getting ready to go on right now. I'm going to run Sun Tzu. I'm going to run BQ. I'm actually going to switch them and run Sun Tzu. Maybe put the Dominate over here since BQ technically does more damage. And then run Sun Tzu with the Toppler. So I'm going to mix and match. I'm going to try all this stuff out. I want to get what you all think down in the comments. Also, you get entered to win that $10 flux if you put a comment down there. I love getting down there and interacting with you guys. And I love you guys so much for all the support you're giving me. I came back from a kind of one of those tough family visits I had to do because I lost somebody pretty close to me. And the community's been so special. I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. I don't like to bring my personal life into it, guys. Like, you guys are here to play a game. I just want to tell you I appreciate the support because it was amazing. 606, all right, my restart 4028 and 2359. Everybody was so great, and the support is amazing from such a great community. And we hope you guys got a little bit something out of this. Everybody can take a deep breath and not freak out. Pincer 2 is not that much better. There are a couple of things that are really, really good you can focus on, but overall, everybody's going to be okay. So if you enjoyed this video, throw a like on here. If you haven't subscribed, consider doing so. And I hope you guys have a great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you might be. And we'll see you later, broskies.